Hi everybody, welcome to a new video for the Founding Out Loud channel. And today it's October 11 and I'm in my 7th week of my founding journey. And one of the most important things that I did this week was having a mentor talk with Sina Ehresmann. And actually Sina Ehresmann works at an event management company. So in that way, Sina was actually a great person to talk to also better understand how conference organizers might look at my startup. So as always, I will openly share with you the mentor talk that I had with Sina so that you can see what kind of comments she raised, what we have discussed. And then afterwards, I will also do a brief reflection on the input of Sina. So enjoy the mentor talk.
Founding Out Loud.
Okay, so what I will first do is simply do the pitch of the ideas that I have at the moment, kind of how I built my first mock-up of the idea that I have, and then we can just discuss, yeah? So the startup at the moment is called TriadSpark. Title is not that important, but so what is the problem from which I started? So I have been in academia for the past 25 years, which I always have liked. I really like my job, but there is one thing I don't like that much, and that's going to conferences. And one thing I really don't like is, of course, it's important to network. Also for academics, it's important to network, but I always find the networking at conference very artificial. I would say it's very tailored toward extroverts. And as being an introvert myself, I struggle a bit with that part, and that means that often in the end I end up during conferences sitting in the hotel watching Netflix, whereas I should be at the evening party to network. Yeah, but then I just out of energy. And in the past weeks, I did quite some customer interviews where I noticed that I'm not the only one having this problem. A lot of other people, not only in an academic setting, but also more business events, business conferences, seem to have the struggle that they have the feeling that actually networking at conferences is challenging. And at the same time, I also have the feeling that conference organizers have a problem today. And at least again, when I go to conferences, to be honest, most of the sessions are not very engaging. And this is typically how a room looks like when I go there. Somebody is presenting, half of the seats are empty, and actually the people are not listening or engaging. They're just looking at their emails or looking at their smartphone. So my feeling is also that actually from the conference part, conferences are actually struggling with triggering engagement. Yeah, so these were a bit the problems for which I started. And so the idea that I now developed is TriadSpark. And luckily, I have already a fancy logo. That's always important.
Very good.
But so let me show you a bit how it will look like. So it's a platform where I want to kind of stimulate interaction among participants already before the conference, so that they can start interacting before the conference. But the interaction should be related to the conference. And my idea is actually that on this platform, I want to create challenges on which people can jointly work that can actually build up the conference in a way that is as engaging as possible. So let me show you a bit how it would work. So the first step will be that you simply you register for the conference, and then you can also register for the platform, and then you just have to give some information. So you can upload your LinkedIn. You can tell a bit about what would be your goals to connect. What kind of topics would you be interested in discussing? So you give some inside information. And based on that, I would then add you to certain chat platforms on my platform. And on these platforms, we will actually push information and, for instance, recent news items that are related to the topic of the conference. And so here I've taken as an example, let's think about an EU tech conference in 2026. And so we have the platform, and then there is a new news item about EU plans unified startup regulatory framework for 2026. And then on the platform, the people that are kind of pushed into this chat room can interact with each other about these news items. They can add news items themselves. It's a bit like reacting to a LinkedIn article, but then the news is always related to the topic of the conference. Yeah? So that would be the first step. So here people can simply start acting, interacting, but in an anonymous way. Yeah? So we hide the identities of the people. So here they can simply interact anonymously. And then based on the interactions, we will actually match them in what we call triads, meaning 3 people together. And based on the interactions, who seems to be fit with each other, we will kind of connect them in a triad. And then as a triad, they can start working on a specific challenge. And for instance, the challenge could be, okay, you 3 together seem to have a good match. So now, why don't you try to come up with an idea for a conference roundtable that we can have at the conference? So that they can jointly brainstorm about a specific roundtable. And so then we provide here a kind of environment where, again, anonymously, so they still don't know who the actual persons are, but with 3 people, they can start kind of building up a roundtable for the conference. So that would be the next step. When they finished that challenge, they can actually decide, okay, we have now worked together, we have submitted our challenge. Do we actually want to reveal identities? Yeah? So do I actually want these others to know who I am so that we can continue exchanging, but also that we then can use the conference as maybe a moment to celebrate our joint accomplishments? Yeah? So that would be this step where they can simply vote. Do we want to reveal identities, yes or no? If everybody agrees, then identities will be revealed, and then they can continue to exchange with each other. Yeah, so that's how that will work. And of course, in the meantime, the challenges, which are conferences related, will be published on a leaderboard where everybody on the platform can vote for particular challenges. Yeah, so then people can vote which of the roundtables would I really like to have during the conference. So that can help conference organizers to really have topics that actually the participants have created, and people can vote on that. And of course, we will also gamify the platform, meaning that every person will have its own dashboard where you can see how much interactions that you have, what is the ranking of the challenge that you created, how many comments that you get. So it's a bit kind of the Duolingo of conference networking. Yeah, so that's currently a bit the idea. So it's a platform where we want to create upfront the opportunity to get to know people first anonymously, to avoid that it becomes a dating platform, to avoid that it becomes quite awkward. But if you have successful interactions, you can reveal identities. And at the same time, for conference organizers, this is a platform that actually can help them to create content for the conference that engages people. Yeah. So that's a bit the idea. Maybe just very briefly to end the presentation, and then we can go to discussion. So how is this different from existing networking apps? Because I think you will know that there are already networking apps present, some very sophisticated. I think the difference is that this is an application that focuses on pre-conference interaction, whereas at least what I found, most of these networking apps focus on interaction during the conference. I think this element of anonymity is quite special, and actually I think it can be important, because otherwise, at least when I talked with people, especially to be honest, females, were saying, yeah, these things often tend to escalate into dating apps, and that's something that a lot of people don't like. And I think it's the differentiation is also that in the end, we should be able to really help conferences in creating more engaging content, where we can actually help conference organizers to do that by means of these challenges. So these are kind of the 3, I think, unique aspects of the platform. How do I want to monetize? Quite straightforward. The conference organizers will have to pay a kind of fixed fee to use the platform. However, we will also help them by setting up these challenges. So for your conference, what kind of challenges could be interesting? And then there would be a variable fee in terms of how many successful triads have been created on the platform. So that's the conference organizers also kind of paid by performance. If not a lot of triads are formed, then you don't. If there are a lot of successful triads, then you will pay a variable fee. So that's the idea. So Looking forward to hear your feedback.
Very good. I'm thinking the time frame will, of course, be crucial because I like the idea that you generally challenge the networking component of conferences, because we also, or I have seen in the past couple of years that this is obviously also a challenge for any event organizer, particularly in our medical bubble where I have been in the past years. I think the demand for face-to-face was very high. So everything we have seen during the pandemic that was done online didn't really work. I think it also highly depends on the demographics. And again, for us, the people are, I would say, a bit older who attend our conferences. So sometimes we have like the pickup of downloads for conference apps, etc. Sometimes very low, which means that it is a bit of a challenge for us too. And for our particular industry, I haven't really seen any late developments where I've really seen a good product. Also, because you always need to consider the integration with different systems that the organizer uses for registrations. Like in an ideal world, this would all be interconnected. Exactly. But generally, I think also with the upcoming generations that are getting more present within these conferences, it's very important to do something like that. That's for sure.
But would you then say your typical customer segments that are a bit older, they simply, every online solution is already a kind of a blocker because they simply don't want to go online, or how do you see it?
It's a bit tough to stereotype, because I think the medical field in general is a bit more, let's say, traditional, because the problems that you've mentioned in the first part of the presentation, I can only agree with them. Like we also see that. I always, I mean, we as the agency behind such conferences, we typically do not sit the entire hour in the session hall and actually follow the content, because I mean, I don't understand anything about what they are saying anyways. So, but it is for sure that it always follows the classical thing. You have a couple of very educated people within this specific area. They give their presentations. Usually it's like 2 or 3. Sometimes you maybe have a panel discussion. In the end, people can ask questions. And you also know there's only like 2 or 3 brave ones who step up to the microphone, so I can fully understand. Now that we sometimes have the apps and people can actually also provide the anonymous question via like a QR code, app, survey, whatnot, that has definitely increased a little bit. So I think for organizers, like if like in my case, there is also like a scientific association behind it. These working groups that you were talking about, these round tables, could be highly interesting for them, because based on those, they can adapt the future program of the conference again, so they can make it more appealing too. So I think this is something that needs to be very, very clear in the offer, because that will probably be the differentiator also for them to see the value in this.
Yeah. Okay. Now, a comment that I sometimes get when I present this, not when I talk with conference organizers, but so simply with other people, it's like, do people have the time and the incentives to now start already being on a platform before a conference? What would be your opinion about that?
Yes, I think that is one of the key challenges for you, because one example, I'm attending a conference next week in Rotterdam, and yes, it is an event industry thing. So we go to these events to educate or to be educated about like certain developments, to exchange. Networking is a huge component. And I just returned from vacation and I have all these requests in my inbox, obviously, of people who want to talk to me. But now I have like today, tomorrow, and Monday to, yeah. I mean, it's also like it's your personal time planning, but I mean, there's always something that is in your way. So I think this component of time to use another application is going to be one of the challenges that you will certainly face, because I think that is also industry overarching, let's say. It's not.
And these requests that you get, is this of people that you already know and that say, oh, let's catch up during the conference, or is that also people that you don't know that simply want to connect with you? How does that work? Both. Okay. Yeah.
Both. I would say probably it's like a 50-50 split even. Okay. It's, of course, me being an agency working with medical associations, we are a great client to all of these people who also like to exhibit, for example, during these kinds of events. So I get like lots of sales emails or sales requests through this. And this is something that I also see. I mean, for you, if you pursue with this idea, then for example, the IBTM in Barcelona, this is like one of the largest European event management trade shows. You would then have like your little exhibition booth there, and people could come to you to get information about the service you offer. And we also go there as an exhibitor, and the company I work for has been on the market for almost 60 years. And it's always the struggle to get the people to your booth to discuss things with you, because the sheer amount of requests they receive over these platforms, and that's like something very similar, is enormous. So I'm thinking.
To be honest, I think my idea is more related to the kind of conferences that you organize. And so the conferences where you have experts coming together. And so this kind of events where it's very sales driven. And to be honest, I think you need to have it. And that I think it's more about quantity. And to be honest, it is mainly extroverts selling stuff. I'm not sure if my application there can make a lot of difference. And so, but what I mainly want to focus is on having some high quality connections even before you go to the conference, so that then when you are at the conference you can meet these people. That's a bit the pain point, at least from the conference attendee perspective, that I want to solve. And because I also think that this thing about just having huge quantities and being efficient in scheduling, I think the existing networking apps already do that. And then I don't see a lot of added value there.
I think some of our technical providers, let's say, because many of the European conferences that we organize, they still run in a hybrid format, so people can also join from home, obviously. And there we see that many of the delegates would then only log on for specific sessions that they are very into. So once you are joining from home, let's say, or from the office, the attention span is like something completely different, because obviously if I take the time to travel somewhere to attend a conference and I have my full focus on that, or is I try to still work on the side and just join bits and pieces, then also my engagement probably in all networking aspects might be affected by that.
But so hybrid still happens a lot in your case, because in the academic world, that's something that's not happening that much.
Yeah, definitely. Like in the medical bubble, particularly, because you would always have also speakers that can't travel because of whatever reason, and then you have luckily you have the technology that they can still give their presentations without being physically present. And through these platforms that we use, that usually then also offer an app where people can actually address the questions, etc., or even connect. Sometimes they even have connection options. That's what I mean, like to get as a new provider in this whole system of many different providers is going to be another challenge for sure.
Yeah, but that's why I don't want to focus on connections during the conference, because I think, as you mentioned, there are so many offerings that but and they also get more and more sophisticated with AI and stuff like that. So that's why I want to differentiate myself. Like, look, this is something actually complementary that focuses on before the conference, and also is more about helping conference organizers to create more engaging content. That's a bit before the conference also, so that then at the conference you can have that engaging content being implemented. That would be the plan. Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. It's a very, very, very interesting point to actually differentiate, because I never really thought about that, being introvert or extrovert, and to really think if the offer we have in terms of networking opportunities, if this is suitable to most of the people. So now that I'm thinking, now I know why only, I don't know, not even 1/3 of the people would attend our welcome gathering, because most of the people would be like, yeah, I don't want to talk to strangers and walk up to them. Totally makes sense. Yeah.
No, and that's also something interesting that I found out. Even I like you also did in the master thesis. I did then some customer interviews with ChatGPT, but at least you simulate conference organizers. But it was always interesting to see that indeed, and when I talked with synthetic conference organizers, that you notice that they are not aware of this problem to that extent, that for them having these big social gatherings where you can have a lot of are normal and the norm, and that they ignore a bit that for certain kind of people that's actually one of the worst things you can do, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, something that we also see is like just having also this full conference day with like a program for the full day, and then you also have evening functions to do social stuff. Like I recognize also for my events that I attend, like I'm just tired. I want to like don't hear anything, don't talk to someone at night, and just have my peace. But then obviously this is not the format that most of the events are using. So actually it would be very nice to shift this networking component a bit to the front, like what you would be doing, and also tell like you can actually then save money on site, because you don't like need this full spectrum maybe of on-site networking events anymore, because people would automatically find one another. And this would be a cost saver again for the organizer, because if this is not the format anymore that most of the people want, because everyone's just tired, and
it's actually that I really didn't think yet about, because I could imagine that for conference organizers, exactly the social aspects are the more expensive parts of the conference. So then if you can say you can actually save these issues or scale them down and have used this as an alternative. That's actually an interesting framing that I didn't think about.
And even like, because that's again very relevant for anything medical, you could nicely sponsor an app like this as well, like get support from exhibitors and sponsors, because what they are interested in is also obviously the data of people, or the exchange with the people. So this is something you can also integrate, and then the organizers have the option of refinancing this in some way, shape, or form. And again, that's also
that was I didn't mention it in the pitch, but indeed that was my idea, that in the end you could also have sponsors doing challenges for them, so that you also build up their engagement.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. But so if I hear you, I think where you see still kind of the Achilles heel is, will people be motivated to use this platform before the conference? That's as I'm there, I think you have some doubts, not?
Exactly, because usually there is a LinkedIn group, maybe there's even like a WhatsApp group, or other options of like, maybe I know already quite some people, maybe I'm not even so interested to get to know new people, but
Yeah.
It always obviously depends on what the individual wants to get out of the networking. If they are like dependent on the exchange of ideas and working on joint things, like in those challenges that you presented, then I think it's definitely going to work. And then you only have the time component that people would need to sit down to actually do it. But yeah, I think the motivations can be quite different. So that's going to be.
Yeah, and my idea was to strengthen that. Not yeah now, but then of course. So for instance, the challenge would be you come up with an idea for a round table, but then if that round table would also be really selected and it would be at a conference, then of course you as a kind of ideator of that idea would be actively involved. So you would then also get some exposure during the conference that you have been creating this round table. So that was a bit my idea. And they do challenges for the conference, and then if these challenges are successful, then they also get the exposure for that. So in that way, this kind of pre-conference activities can also be a means for people to get more exposure at a conference. Do you think that could make sense, or do you think nobody cares?
No, definitely. I think usually many conferences also have like a young professional component to it. So I think this is also something where younger professionals could have a very nice stage to get more engaged in whatever they want to pursue. So definitely, yeah.
Yeah. And to be honest, that would be my main target. So it's indeed the young professionals that do not yet have an extensive network. Because like you said, and also in my own case, as a professor 20 years, when I go to conference, I know people and I don't have that much need for getting to know more people. So then will I spend then time on a pre-conference platform? Probably not. So it's mainly where I see the pain point, which I experienced myself 20 years ago. When you're new and you need to establish connections, then it's actually very difficult to do so.
Yeah.
So that would then indeed be my main target. But then you do at conferences really this kind of separate young professional things to, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And what kind of things do you do then for them?
Well, usually all of the associations, they have like little chapters, let's say, where some very engaged ones would also have like a separate program, or if relevant, they could have, like we just recently had a walk through the exhibition with a group of students, young professionals, so that they actually get also to know the importance of certain companies. They can try out some devices, for example, things like that. So it actually is also addressing the networking component a little bit, but to do these kinds of things, sometimes they have their own little gatherings where they can mingle with certain, for example, professors from specific fields. So usually there is like a program that is more focused on education running next to the main conference.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I don't want to take too much of your time, but maybe one final question from my side. Is there something that you now think about, like, that I definitely should take into account when building this, that you think that I might have ignored at the moment from a conference organizer perspective?
Not that I could think of now. I think we addressed most of the ideas that came to my mind. If there's anything else, I will of course let you know. But as again, the system integration, but I mentioned that would be definitely one part, because it's always a pain if you have so many different suppliers and then you need to take care, like data transportation in between those is sometimes a challenge.
Okay, no, perfect. Okay, thanks a lot for your.
Thank you. Very interested and excited to see where this is headed.
Yes, I will take the next step in the upcoming weeks now.
Okay, great. I hope to see more of it on LinkedIn or something.
Yes.
Great.
Okay. Now, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Founding out loud.
Yes, so this was my talk with Sina, and let me briefly reflect upon what she was saying. And actually for me, I really start to have a feeling of kind of convergence. So what I see as a kind of convergence is that everybody that I talk to validates the pain points that I've identified. Yeah, so it is a problem, it is perceived, and actually, for instance, as somebody like Sina acknowledges that in the world of conferences, this problem might actually have been ignored to some extent. So I think these are very positive points for me. At the same time, I also see convergence that the person with whom I talk always see the part of how will you and kind of stimulate people to engage in these challenges before a conference is organized, that will be the crucial part. And that's why actually I have been shifting in the past like 1.5 weeks to more gamification, to link it more explicitly to the conferences. That I have the feeling that Sina now became extremely excited about it. No, also not that she thinks it's stupid. So my hunch is it's going into the right direction. At the same time, I also now realize that there are a lot of different kinds of conferences, and I think my solution might be relevant for some types of conferences, and also the conferences that I used to attend, whereas other conferences, like Sina explained, where it's kind of salespeople just having to have as much connections as possible during the conference, where it's really about quantity of meeting and not quality of meeting. There, I think, to be honest, my solution has limited added value. But that, I think, also helps me to create a clearer perspective on my customer segment. So as such, I don't see that as a major problem. Okay, so that's a very brief reflection on what I learned from this mentor talk. And now I will actually go to prepare a first full pitch of my startup in the 8th and actually final week of this trajectory. Okay, thanks for your attention. Bye.